Wisp Sports Radio, the voice of women in sport.
Hello, and thank you for downloading The Bolder Woman on Wisp Sports. This is Season 1, Episode 11, and I'm Chris Stafford.
You've tamed the voices in your head. You've put your courage to the test. Laid all your doubts to rest. Your mind is clearer than before. Your heart is full and wanting more. Your future's at the door. Give it all you got. No hesitating. You've been waiting all your life.
My guest this week is US Masters track and field athlete Jeanne Daprano, who will be turning 83 this summer, and she's very careful of what she expects of herself in order to be able to continue in competing. With a meticulous diet and diligent coach, she no longer hammers out distances on the track, but instead she saves her legs while training on the rowing machine, for which she also holds records for her age group. Jeanne focuses on core strength now and swimming for cardio, and for the most part saves her running for the races. Jeanne's local club is the Atlanta Track Club Masters, which she's been a member of now for almost 20 years. Growing up on a farm in Iowa, she's always been active, from riding her horse to school and helping on the land. Jeanne played basketball in high school and college in Nebraska, but didn't take up running until she started jogging on the beach while she was working on her master's degree in California. She was 45 before she started taking running seriously, and it was 5 years later that she started competing internationally. She holds the current world record in the W70 mile, W75 400 meters, 800 meters, in addition to the pending W75 mile record. And indoors, she holds the W75 records in those same events and is on the W60 4x400 meters relay. She also holds the American records in the W70 400 meters, W65 and W70 800 meters, and W70 1500 meters. In the summer of 2012, she became the first woman over 75 to run under a 7-minute mile with a time of 6:58:44. And I spoke to Jeanne recently at her home in Atlanta, Georgia, before she went on her daily walk. Hello, Jeanne. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome, Chris. It's a pleasure.
Well, it's nice to be able to finally catch up with you because you do quite a bit of running. I don't know if I could catch up with you these days. How much do you run a day?
Well, my workouts are different. Now that I'm in the 80 age group, my body doesn't like hard workouts. You know, what used to be, easy is now really hard. So I have a trainer, David Buer, and he has helped me in the last 12 years not to be injured. And so I really try to follow him, and he feels like less is best if you do the right thing. So I do a lot of core development.
Yeah, that's absolutely key, isn't it? The core strengths, keeping strength up. Yeah, so you work out in the gym regularly.
Well, he has a private studio in Buckhead here. And that's where I go. I've dropped my other memberships, except for the pool. Sometimes I go to the water to work out. But most of the time, I'm just centering on him a couple times a week. And then he tells me where to run and how to run and what to do. Because if left to myself, I would overdo. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does make a lot of sense. But what do you find are the biggest challenges then now, Jeanne, for keeping fit?
Probably getting my endurance, because I'm not running long distance anymore. I used to do a lot of spinning, and I'm not doing that very much. So I do most of my training on an indoor rower, which is an erg machine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a lot of fun, and it is a serious workout. I know you've even broken records doing that, haven't you?
Yes, and I have been in international competition for that rowing machine too. But that takes the impact off of running all the time. And I do all my training on grass. Then when I get ready to go on a track, a couple weeks before, I'll put on my track shoes and get on a track. But to just go out and do repeats on the track, I'm not doing that anymore now. I used to, and I was injured all the time. Parts of my body didn't feel good. And still parts of my body don't feel good, but it's not because I'm on the impact of sports.
It's the concussion, isn't it, to the joints that takes its toll?
Yes. And, I think we only have so many miles on our body that the Lord has created. I treat it like a temple. My body is his temple, and we only have a certain amount of things that our bodies here on earth are going to be able to function at. And I'm at the end. I see it coming. My times aren't good. I'm not, but I think I know he's still pleased with what I'm doing, my fitness and everything.
Well, it sounds like you've got a very good trainer there. But when you do the rowing, then the erg machine, how long would you spend on that?
Well, like if I need to go to the track and run, say 8 200 meters, I would do that on the track, on the rowing machine, rather than going to the track to run 8, or whatever, 4, or now it's getting to be like 4 or 6. I do that on the erg machine and rest, have a rest time in there. And then I would do my 8 200 meters on the erg. Or if it was 50 meters, sometimes I do 50 meters. So it's not how long I'm on there, it's what my workout is like.
So what are your preferred distances now then when you're running, Jeannie? 800 meters still?
Yeah, I like the 800 meter a lot. That's where I've had my most success, I think. But I like the 400 and the 200, and for the senior games, I even qualified for the 50 meter. No, I'm not out to win. I'm just out to perform the best I can do.
And now what about diet, Jeannie? Is this something that you've always had to be very mindful of, or how do you regard your nutrition as you've gotten older?
Well, I started at 30 years old. I sat down one day and realized what I was eating was not good for my body. And so at 33, I think it was, I can't remember back then, but I sat down and said, you know what? I'm going to take one thing out of my diet that I know I should not eat, that is not good for me, nutritionally wise and also preservative wise and all the above. And so I started by taking one thing out for 6 weeks. And I said, if I can keep that out for 6 weeks, I can do it for eternity. And I did. I was thrilled, and not that my body performed better, it probably did, but my spirit was better because I knew that was wrong, what I was eating. So I encourage people to look at their diets and start with one thing, not the hardest thing. I took out something that I felt like I could give up for 6 weeks, and I put something in its place, sort of, when I needed that. And that was the beginning, and now I'm probably 90% living food. I hardly cook at all. I have a dehydrator. I make my own crackers. I try not to eat anything that's packaged. I know it's did I start there? No. And gradually I'm still working on it.
Now, how about drinks then and I'm just thinking about the power drinks, Jeannie, getting, protein, getting the energy drinks for competing. What do you use?
I use water. and I put in some BBs, I don't know what they're called, BCAAs or something, like branch amino acids. No, I do some of that, and I do a lot of protein powder, but I don't do whey. I don't do dairy, so I'm not using whey protein. I'm using rice or bone broth or, protein that has a healthier element to it. And I'm getting a lot of protein in eating vegetables that are not cooked, because we cook all the value out of the vegetables out of there.
So you're very strict then about your diet then, and you manage to maintain that. I mean, even when you're competing and probably your appetite increases, I mean, how do you boost your appetite in those times to get the carbs that you need then for competing?
Well, I don't do a lot of carbs. I know that I'm doing mostly protein. I try to do daily my weight in protein, and the carbs I've taken out. And I've disciplined my body to do that. And when I travel and go to track meets, I take a suitcase full of food because I can dehydrate all my food. I take a blender that's hand cranked, where I do a lot of wheatgrass. I know people don't want to hear that, but I'm kind of like Hippocrates Institute. I follow their suggestions. No, do I do them all? No. But there's some things that I know work for my body. And so I'm doing wheatgrass a lot. And I do my own green drink every day. And I can do that on a blender when on a grinder. I can get that when I'm traveling. And I try to eat mostly organic foods.
So obviously this is something that works for you, and you've maintained your healthy regime, Jeannie. But what about injuries more recently? What have you had any niggling injuries that have interrupted your training and racing?
Well, I had what they thought was I had a torn meniscus, and they wanted to do surgery. And I said, and I go to the doctors to see what they're going to tell me to do. And my trainer really encourages me to do that. And then we work out a program. And my torn meniscus, I went to this doctor, highly professional, and he's got a great career, and I trusted him. And he says, Jeannie, we need to do surgery on that meniscus. And I said, but I'm going to compete in 5 weeks. I'm training. He said, well, you can cross that off because you won't be able to do that. And I said, what is the other choice I have? There must be another choice rather than surgery. And he says, yeah, you have 1% chance of doing fitness, doing kind of workouts with it, strengthening it, a 1%. And so I sort of jumped off the table, and I wasn't being sarcastic, but I said, I'm going to try to be that 1%. Chris, I put orthotics. I had other people helping me. I mean, it wasn't like I just went out and did it myself. I had other professionals that believed the same thing. So I put orthotics in, which changed the torque on my knee. And I went to strength training and did a lot of therapy on it, and hardly ran at all for those 5 weeks. And when I went to the Masters games in Minnesota, I was apprehensive. I hadn't run. And I got on the track, and it did not hurt at all. Now, if that's a miracle, it's a miracle because I chose to do a different route. I mean, I didn't just sit down and not do anything. But I really, because I know that there's an alternative to everything. We have choices to make. And so I chose to do orthotics and strength training for those 5 weeks. And I've not had a problem with it since.
Well, that's wonderful. I was going to ask you about your shoes. What footwear you use for running? What's your preferred brand then, Jeannie?
To me, it doesn't make any difference. It's what they have done to the shoe. And my orthotics fit me. I get them changed. You know, they rework them, and I put pads in them more on my orthotics, so I can wear any kind of shoe. And you know, I'm with the Atlanta Track Club, and so I'm supposed to be wearing Mizuno. I don't mean to say that, but that's their sponsor, and I'm supposed to wear their shoes. I can wear their shoes. Would I choose to wear them? No, but I take out their pads in there and I put in mine. I don't think it's one brand. It's what fits my foot. And it changes, Chris. You know, my feet are changing, but I know that if my feet aren't right, you can forget the rest of me. I can do whatever there is, but if my feet aren't hitting the ground right and performing well, it's worthless.
Right, and this takes me back to what you will identify with as someone who's ridden horses. The adage in the horse world is no foot, no horse.
That's right. And why wouldn't we think that? And so the other thing is the horses run on grass, don't they?
Well, for the most part, it's on grass and artificial footing, yes.
Right. And so why are we out running on asphalt and cement?
And do you run at all indoors these days, Jeanne?
Yes. I just got back from North Carolina, where we had, believe it or not, 5 women in the 80 age group. And we got a world record in the 4x200 meter.
Congratulations. What was that?
I don't know what it was. I can't remember all of those. But because it changes, and it might have been broken in Poland. I didn't go to Poland this year, which was where the World's Indoor was for Masters. And I didn't go. So I really haven't looked it up on the internet, and people haven't, checked it out with me. So, but I know those records like that, they're meant to be broken, and I am encouraged by women, especially older women. I see them not so much in the U.S., but international women. Internationally, there's more women showing up in the 80 age group than I've ever seen.
That's fantastic.
And they're saying that.
Yes.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's when it gives you more competition, though.
Absolutely. And I want it. Do you think I want to go to a race and be the only one in my age group? You got to be kidding me. That's no fun.
It makes your records more meaningful.
Yes. And it just makes me be the best I can be. And I need to share this because it's not all success. I want you to know that. Just here in North Carolina, where we went, Winston-Salem, for the indoor national meet, I had a friend, and we're kind of all friends. We're on the same relay team. Would you believe she nipped me at the line? And I went, gosh, I can't believe it. Where I've always been able to outrun her all the time. And she has improved. She's changed her training a little bit. And I just rejoiced with her because that's what it's about, is friendly competition.
Absolutely. And you've got to have fun with it, friendly rivalry.
Yes.
So tell us about the competitions this year then, Jeanne, what you've done and what you're going to be doing for the rest of the year. How far ahead do you plan?
Well, wherever the meets are, this year I have three outdoor track. I'm going to outdoor track now. I'm training for that. I go to Albuquerque for the senior games. I qualified for that, and I think I qualified for 5 events. I don't know if I'll do all 5 of them, but I qualify where I have to qualify, and I qualify for a lot, because when you get there, you never know what you're going to do. Depends on how they schedule it, how I feel, whatever. So I go to Albuquerque in June. Then in July, the national outdoor track meet for Masters, which is 35 and over. They might have lowered it to 30. They keep trying to change it a little bit. But that's going to be in Ames, Iowa. And since I'm an Iowa farmer's daughter, I certainly don't want to miss that meet. first time I've run track in Iowa. And so then right after that, they have a North American Championships in Toronto, Canada. I'm not for sure if I'm going to do that or not. I look at all of them and then see how financially, because I'm not nobody's paying my way. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. And, I often hear stories of masters athletes, whether it be diving or swimming, whatever it may be, that you are all making your own way here, and you're not thriving on prize money in the process either.
No, we aren't. We're trying to. For me, I'm trying to be the best I can be and the best model I can be for that day. And some days I'm better than others, partly because of attitude or, all the above, all what other athletes go through. Concentration, being able to focus on what I'm doing, and the travel, it's not getting easier. So, but I try to be the best I can be for that day.
So now what distances will you be running in those three events then? Well, at least in Albuquerque and then in Iowa.
Well, I sign up for all of them, 100, 200, 400, 800, and 1,500. Or if they have a mile. And then I see how my training goes, because some years it's better than others. And sometimes they put the races too close together. So then I choose. But if I just sign up for one race, that doesn't seem reasonable to go and spend a lot of money to run one race that you're over in 15 seconds or something like that. So I want to go and really compete and be a good athlete.
And keep your options open.
Yes. You say it so well.
What have you done this year so far, Jeannie? Then you mentioned the one race you just did, but what else have you been doing? Do you compete all year long? And did you compete over the winter?
Well, I did the indoor rowing competition in Long Beach, California. That was international. So I went out there for that weekend, and then I went to the indoor championships for nationals here in North Carolina. And I don't know, some years it's more and some years it's less. I want to compete. I still feel like the Lord's pleased with my running. When he's not pleased anymore, I'll quit.
What do you mostly get out of it then, Jeannie? I mean, you obviously enjoy being competitive, but what's the biggest satisfaction for you?
The bottom line.
Yes.
The bottom line is that for me, because I'm a child of God, and this is his temple, and as long as I can honor that and bring honor to him, then that's why I compete, really. And do I like it all the time? No. Sometimes I'd rather lay on the couch and eat what everybody else is eating. All the cooked food, there wasn't hardly anything that was right. So it's a discipline, and as long as I can still discipline my body, for his glory.
What motivates you? What excites you when you get up in the morning and you're grateful for the start of another day? Is it what you're training that day? Is it the next competition that you're aiming for?
No, it's being the best I can be today, regardless whether I'm doing the dishes. And I have a husband who's competed with me for 20 years, and now he's not able to compete anymore. So I'm kind of running a care center here at home. He is, he doesn't want to be in a facility, so we're taking care of him here at at the house. And so I think what really motivates me is to just, how do I want to say it? Just to be grateful for, and I'm looking at my arthritic fingers, My body's aging. Forget it. I don't see anybody that's being exempt. It's inevitable. Some way our bodies are breaking down. And so can I be as grateful for my arthritic finger as I am for the one that's not arthritic? That's what motivates me.
Looking back at the records that you've achieved, I'm just focusing now on you as an athlete here, Jeannie, and the things that you've achieved as an athlete. What are you most proud of?
Probably the mile. Not knowing, I try not to look back, because then I think I need to achieve that again. Well, I won't. But probably the boat, and I think it was in '07. So that's been a long time ago. I just now realized when I broke the world record, the first woman over 70 to run a sub 6-minute mile, sub 7-minute mile. I had a 6:48, something like that. Well, that's probably what people look at the most and think that was a great accomplishment. But even when I go out on the track, because when I finish here, I'm going to go for my walk. I'm doing a lot of walking in the grass every day, and tomorrow I'll train again. But even when I go for my walk, I want it to be the best I can be for that day, so that he gets the glory, not me. What he can still do old bodies.
Yeah, and of course, you only became competitive quite later on in life, didn't you? Wasn't it in your 50s that you started to compete internationally?
Right, but I've been running since, playing basketball and running and since my early 20s.
And you were riding horses when you were growing up in your farm in Iowa. You were riding horses too, you told me.
Yes. And it wasn't for pleasure, it was for work, I was the gopher who rode horses to school and back and whatever. And took lunch out to my dad when he was working in the fields, and it was a good time of moving.
Was there any part of that childhood though that you felt competitive in sport?
Yes, in basketball in high school, because we didn't have any sport. And that was the only sport. I lived in a really small town, and that was the only thing that girls could do. 70, 60 years ago, women weren't supposed to work out. We weren't supposed to be in sports. I'd like to say that there was some great revelation there, but it was just being competitive with brothers and sisters and neighbors and friends, and because we'd all get together and not be on computers. We were out playing, kicking the ball, running up and down the hills, chasing each other. It was great.
So if you were to start over now, looking at the opportunities that women have in sport, and really women have opportunities to do any sport at any level, anywhere in the world. I mean, some third world countries don't have as much access as we do in the first world, but for the most part, women have access to a whole range of sports that we didn't back, when you were in school, Jeannie. If you had all of those sports available to you, could do absolutely anything competitively. Do you think you would have done anything different? Would you focus on any other sport? Was there anything that you wish you could have done?
That is a great question, because so many people are dissatisfied with what's happened in their youth. And I don't think I would have done a single thing different, because I just believe this principle that God does not make mistakes. And he has not made a mistake in my life, even when I've been injured, even when I've had suffering, because that's when I grow the most. So I don't think I would change a thing. I know that sounds weird, other than maybe not having to sleep with my sister in the same bed for all those years. But
would you have liked to have done any other sports, though?
I don't think so. I've taken a lot of kids to soccer because I worked with the Cambodian community in Long Beach, and they could play soccer. And so I did a lot of Olympic development with kids in soccer. But I don't think I would have liked that game. I'm more individual. No, I like the team. I see really advantages to it and encourage people to do it. And I love volleyball. But I never felt like the team sports were in my countenance, I guess. I love basketball, but I could still pursue it because they have basketball at senior games.
And of course, while you were teaching, you had a great career as a teacher, and you will have watched, and I'm sure I've got a lot of satisfaction encouraging the students to participate in sport. You talked about soccer. I think you used to engage in running as a start of your academic day.
Absolutely. You were in my class, because I was the running teacher. I want to say I graded the kids, A, B, C, D runners. So you didn't have to compete with the A runners. You could compete with your group if you wanted to compete. If you didn't want to compete, that was all right. But I took a lot of kids to track meets and to running events, those that wanted to participate.
Well, now that you're at this point in your career, in your life, Jeannie, and you're doing what you love doing still with your running and with the rowing as well, you have a great trainer, obviously. What are you most looking forward to then with what you might achieve and the records that you could still break?
Chris, I wish I could say I could focus out on that, and I don't. I'm just grateful for that my body is still functioning. And that it's not, that the aging process is coming, it's there. And I'm just grateful for movement. So I really do not think about breaking records. I think about honoring this temple.
And it's still enjoying the sport that you love. Well, clearly a lot more miles to run, Jeannie, and it's great that you're still able to enjoy the sport and stay fit and take care of yourself to be competitive. So I want to wish you the very best of luck with whatever you decide to do out there in track and field. And thank you so much for taking time to come on the show.
Oh, Chris, it's been a delight. And I just want people to know that, how do I want to say it? My final race, I want to be worn out, spent. And I want to finish strong, standing strong. So I don't know how else to say it except I'm so grateful for what this body can still do.
Well, you take care of it, Jeannie, and good luck with the races this year. Thanks again for your time.
Chris, it's been an honor. Thank you so much.
Conversations from the world of women's sports. This is Wisp Sports Radio.
And my thanks again to Jeannie for coming on the show today. And if you'd like to see the show notes accompanying this episode with photos, then visit us at wispsports.com and look for the Bolder Woman under the Listen tab, where you'll also find other episodes in this series. There's already a selection of women over 50 who are still competitive in a range of sports. So that's all at wispsports.com. You can, of course, follow us on social media at Wisp Sports. And if you'd like to drop us a line, if you have any suggestions for guests, comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us at info@wispsports.com. If you're listening online, don't forget you can listen also on any podcast app. Just look for Wisp Sports. Until the next time, thank you for listening and supporting women in sport everywhere. Goodbye for now.
This is your moment.